Hello, this is Tutorial Island, and today I'm going to show you how minimal width and height works and maximum width and height works as well. So as you see, we have blank document, so we're going to create a couple elements for it. So we can create a div with text element inside of it. We can make 2 copies of that, and we can apply default style link for our elements. So our each div element should have a border of 1 pixel solid black, which also should have padding of 20 pixels and margin of, let's say, 10 pixels and auto, which would mean that you're going to have a margin of 10 pixels from top and bottom, and from the sides it's going to be auto. So if I refresh our document now, we're seeing that it has margin around the element. It also has padding around the text, between the text and the border, and it has the border itself, which is 1 pixel width with black color, solid style. Since we had margin from the left and right auto, it still looks like it's the same, but that is because user agent has actually user agent style sheet, which applies margin of 8 pixels for body elements. So that means everything around the body is 8 pixels wide. So that's why. So if you would like to remove that, which I most often do, I would do body margin 0 and padding 0, which should lead me with ignoring user agent styles. But in that case, now I would like to change auto to 10 pixels. So I would like that all the elements would have margin of 10 pixels around the elements. So in this case, it looks like that. So let's try to apply our width properties. So first element will be static. So let's create class static, and second one will be dynamic. So let's type here dynamic. So we have 3 elements, and one is just going to stick around. So let's create class static, which would have width and height properties of, let's say, 500 pixels of width and height of 50 pixels. So it's not too big. So if I save it and we check how that looks, so it looks exactly like that. So in this case, it's actually stays how it is. So if I resize the window to this size, it still says of 500 pixels. It's a statically defined size, so it's not changing, not dependent on window size or viewport. So if we actually going to create a class dynamic, and we're going to write down pretty much the same, or no, maybe let's do max width of 500 pixels. So, and height could be, let's say, the same. Let's see how that looks now. So it looks actually exactly the same. So just in this case, since it's defined as max width for this element, so let's add some text inside. So static element and dynamic element, so we can actually distinguish them. So if I refresh this now, so we're seeing that we have static element and a dynamic element. So if I resize it, nothing is changing. until the point when we actually reach the mark of 500 pixels. So now, since dynamic element has set maximum width, so if I inspect this element, we can see that it has maximum width of 500, so which starts from here and somewhere around here. So it doesn't fit. It allows to shrink the element. So if I resize it even more, so if I had longer text, so let's assume I have this lorem ipsum placeholder. I will add that same for first element. So let's see how that looks now. So if I refresh this page, we see that we have a lot of text in it. It's actually a bit more than we actually can hold in our CSS because of defined height. So I will just comment out the height for now and refresh the page. So that looks like that. So if I shrink the page, so as you see, top element doesn't move at all. It has static values and it always stays as it is. And this one is actually changing the attributes. So width is changing because only maximum is set. So let's talk about minimum width then. So I can actually define that I want to have a minimum width of, let's say, 400 pixels. So in this case, as you probably guessed already, it's going to stay at maximum of 500 pixels. And if I shrink the window, it will reduces the width until it reaches 400 pixels. And after that, it will be kind of static and not going to change like this one. So let's change that one of 400. So at a certain point, they will be exactly the same size of the items. So if I refresh it now, so this is 400, this is 500, but this is shrinkable. So if I move this, as you see, it shrinks and it stops shrinking at this point, and everything stays exactly the same, which is pretty much how that works. So it also has the same parameters for height. So as you did see, static can have a height of 500 pixels, let's say, and dynamic can have a height of, let's say, or even better, it can have minimum height of 300 pixels and maximum height of let's say also 500 pixels, like this one. So if I refresh it now, it actually shows it in that way. So it's showing by lowest amount. I actually should reduce that to, let's say, 100 because I don't have that much of the text. Let's change this one to 200 and this one to 200. So if I refresh it now, it looks like that. So in this case, the element itself at this point is size of 168 pixels, which you can see on the black popover. So div.dynamic is 542 pixels wide and 168 pixels height. So 168 is between those two, and text just allows to be in that place. So if I'm going to resize the window, as you see, if more rows appears, it actually slightly expands the height of this div element. So that's how minimum and maximum width and height works. So thank you for watching and see you next time.